Hello. Can you hear me? Hey. Alright, I'll be popping out the chat. So hopefully this works now. Now let's see if I go to here. Can you see my screen okay? It should be a Google Doc. Awesome. Okay, a bit low. Let's see. Is this better? I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can boost it. Hello. How is this? I'm using a gain filter. Does this work? Is this better? I'm happy to tweak it. A lot of what I wanted to do was like troubleshooting and technical setting up by the stream, so I apologize. It's later than I wanted, but it was easier to actually. I was able to fix a lot of issues off stream, which is good, which means the VOD will be better. Who are we going to debate? Good question. I will pull it up on my phone really quick. Good. Yeah, no, there's like a lot of tech issues that happen starting out, trying to get it set up, a system going. Will this be as better as fast as I can? And this was the way to do it. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up Discord on my phone, so I have it here, because my computer was not showing my camera if I also had Streamlabs using it. So Discord and Streamlabs were fighting over it, and so we kept blacking out. So what I have now is I'm streaming through Discord. My Discord window is what's capturing my camera. So when we switch to the debate, it'll just be the debate full screen. So I can go from this to it'll be just the Discord call, so all of us cut up. All right, we're going to be debating against Vince at Real Visigoth and North, who seem to think that Donald Trump is not too old and weak for the job and is not in decline. And then joining me will be Destiny. Incredibly fortunate for the opportunity. Yeah. RGR went over last panel and decided to invite me back, so cool. Now the topic here, I want to get it very specific, so I'm going to pull it up on my phone so I can look at the specific wording, because it could get messy. Let's see. Nor did you send it to me somewhere. But it's about Biden's health. Oh yeah, whether or not Trump is mentally and physically fit to continue serving as president. So what I'd like to spend the rest of the time doing, I have like half an hour before the debate. I've been pulling up some sources already. I'm trying to kind of run this through. What are the positions that are going to come up, and how can I respond to them? Um, there's going to be lots of comparisons to Biden, which does not work for the opposition because they're okay with it now. If they actually cared, they would still be upset about it now. I think claims against Biden's health were drastically over exaggerated for the sake of media clicks. There's some ableism. He's had a very clearly documented stutter for his entire life since he was a kid that has been misinterpreted as like mental decline when it's always been there. And shocker, people saw it more during the most stressful and documented job of his life, which kind of tracks. And also of note, Biden actually stuttered more when it seemed like he was really focusing on something important. Like when it was really important for him to get it right, that's when he get caught up and he like really wanted to make sure he. So you can see it on his face, like that. It didn't happen kind of randomly. Um, Similarly, I don't think we can actually prove that Trump has like any kind of mental thing. I know we'd like to. I think there's some reasonable concerns there, but I don't think they're substantive enough. Which puts the opposition in an awkward spot. Did Trump get worse, or has he always been this stupid? Which is a place I'm happy to hold a conversation. Because honestly, what is the excuse? I'm also trying to eat some food before we start. So, here's what I'd love from the chat. Because I even have time to get a couple sources in time. My big question is, if you were like defending this, right? If you were saying he was fit, what would you point to? Like, what is your argument? I'm gonna be looking for some evidence here. You have his bruises. He's been bruising quite a lot. Like, I think there are way more credible concerns to raise about his physical health, which is an obvious documented decline. And it's totally in line with the history of sitting or standing for long periods of time. Poor diet. He loves fast food. He loves McDonald's famously. And obesity, lack of exercise. You know, things he's fully responsible for and should have seen coming. Point out how people eat points. Yeah. The tariffs are disasters. Yeah. And that's the thing, too. Like, even if we assume that both Biden and Trump are not up to the job and haven't been up to the job, they're relying on the people they appoint around him. Biden very clearly appointed a bunch of experts. And frankly, I mean, here's the secret that a lot of Democrats won't tell you. It doesn't really matter if Biden was okay or not, because his agenda was still implemented very smoothly, like in accordance with what he's going to do. And I think there's a difference between like hey, can you grab my car keys real quick from right over there? Which I would do myself anyway, versus these crazy things these people are doing. And there's some horrid actions, and it's hard to tell if they are acting on Trump's behalf or acting on their own behalf. But also, it's clear because there is sort of a power grab happening. There's this like cult like worshiping, even at events. They're all lining up and like praising Trump. Um, they also seem to be trying to kind of get his favor a little bit, and they're kind of vying for power. That's like why people do that. And also, so there's people who are like, out looking out for themselves, which I can't trust them to just be acting on the president's behalf. And then there's also people who just love Trump as a person. And this is like the bulk of why Republicans want him. There isn't a succession plan in place. No one is voting or supporting a successor. And so with all their eggs fully in the one basket of this guy, like it does matter if that one guy can't do the job, because that's all you got. That's all you have. And I don't think there's a lot of trust from anyone that anyone else is picking them to pieces. Like, it should be JD Vance, but he's gone on 8 vacations in 7 months. So what's that about? Like, who's really behind this? If it comes up to the last few days where people were speculating whether or not Trump had died or something, a lot of people will point to the fact that, well, Biden hardly had any press conferences when he was around, right? So the point is not seeing them on camera. The point is, what is their regular behavior? We know something's wrong when they stop everything they normally do, clear their schedule, and no one hears from them. And this is a guy who likes to talk, right? With Biden, he didn't like a lot of flash, a lot of reputation, hardly any at all, even when he should have. But when he was in the office, he was like at his vacation house. I mean, he was doing work, like he was doing documented work. Paperwork was happening. It was just a boring office job. He was clocking in. And we could see that. We could see the trail. We could see things happen. Donald Trump's whole style of governance requires bragging about everything he does on a daily basis. So why did he go quiet? That's more reason for concern. That's why that's like a false comparison. So that's, I think, a base we have covered. So what was he doing during those few days? I don't know. And I do know the Republican Party is not very clear or consistent without Donald Trump there. Like, the Democrats from the start built a much more rounded team comp. Oh, I'm eating just some like little corn dogs that I had in the freezer. I need some protein. I need some salt. Need to load up before the debate. Sorry about that. I'm almost done. But if I don't eat now, I'll crash later. Yeah, Melania's helping him with questions. Like, honestly, my main thing is his physical health. I think it's a way easier argument to make. Because it's clear something's wrong. We know that. There are signs of it. He's even come out with like one diagnosis so far, which is, I'll pull it up. Sorry, there's so many things here. It's hard to tell. Okay. He was diagnosed. Trump diagnosis. Here we go. Um, Trump was diagnosed officially with thank you, Darius Palmer. Glad you're here. Uh, Trump was diagnosed officially with chronic venous insufficiency. This is something I've been reading about today. All day I've been like trying to read up on stuff for this because I like to think I'm good faith. I want to put in that work. And then I had some articles about that. Sorry, there's a lot here. I have stuff about Biden's stutter too. We have Trump's veins. That's important. We have his bruise. Here's an article from People about it. Make that yellow. And then we have Trump's fall. Now we're going to look at some other stuff for Biden. Just prepare. I think that's fair. Biden's stutter. And then I was also looking at some stuff because there's so much bad news happening these days about how J.D. Vance seems to be in the pocket of Peter Thiel, who has given him record-breaking amounts of money in races over the last few years, which I think is of concern, right? Like, if Trump is not up to doing the job, what are the other voices there and what are their other allegiances? Like, if something happens to him, who is picking up power? Who's in control? So that, I think, is a pretty big concern. More pathetic trade policy as well. Because here's the deal, and here's the main argument I want to make. I think Trump is old and weak, and we already know his physical health is going downhill in a way that's only going to get worse with his current job. And I don't think it'll be fast. I don't think it'll be super obvious. But I do think that he is going down, and one day he might just have a heart attack. And that could be any day now. I think the fact alone that everyone was reasonably suspicious that he just died and the administration was hiding it, that felt realistic as a possibility, is of concern. That proves that the Republicans are not running themselves in a way that, like, people can believe. There's no trust there. There's no transparency there. And also, Trump's health is so bad, that seems plausible. Any single person could drop down that at any time for any reason, right? But there are odds to this. It's a weighted forecast. It's a prediction. We can be reasonably safe and reasonably healthy. I think that there is a significant risk Trump won't be here tomorrow. And I think that means his actions and policies are not accountable to tomorrow. Just like A lot of people are concerned about people like immigrants because they think they're not really here and they're not really acting in the nation's interest. I don't think Trump considers himself practically, effectively, a native of tomorrow. Um, his policies do not need to be long term, sustainable, or good. He does not have a vested interest in that. And I think that's a problem. I think it makes him a liability on economic policy. I think that leads him to prioritize short term gain over long term safety. I think it affects his ability to negotiate trade policy and diplomatic policy, where nations need some accountability and some guidance over a long period of time to negotiate and then uphold those things. In the same way, like when a president is a lame duck at the end of their administration, they don't have a lot of practical bargaining power because they're just going to go anyway and be replaced by the next guy. I think foreign politicians don't have the same reason to actually believe and build long-term alliances with Trump because he's going to go anyway. He's not making a lot of trade deals. I don't think he's up for it, right? I mean, this happened to Jimmy Carter with is it the Iran hostage crisis? Is that what it is? I think it happened absolutely with Biden trying to negotiate a ceasefire in Israel-Palestine. And I think Netanyahu had huge incentive to drag his feet, hoping that Kamala would lose, while leftists cheered for it, such that he would have a way easier time negotiating with Donald Trump. In the same way, I don't think Donald Trump can, as a matter of fact, of his raw age and his raw health, be a serious steward of major policy. And I think if Biden, sorry, I think if MAGA wants any chance of surviving, they need to start better preparing for things like their own legacy. Does that make sense? How does that sound? I don't like Vance either. I don't think Trump is enough. And I think it's alarming that given his age, his advanced age, and his declining physical health, it's pretty damning that the only thought he seems to have put into what comes next is Vance, who I think a lot of MAGA voters agree was chosen not to be a successor, but to be a loyal supporter and servant. I don't think he's meant to stand up on his own. I think a lot of MAGA sees that. I think a lot of them don't like him. They did not choose him for that. And I think if or when something happens to Trump, they should seriously consider if that's the guy they want to go with. I think maybe they brought up a good points where when Biden was getting old, and a lot of liberals and a lot of leftists agree with this, that there should have been a new primary or something on the left to make sure that we're getting the best choice, the right choice that people actually want. I don't think MAGA has done their due diligence with J.D. Vance. And I think if or when something happens to Trump, which we need to be realistic, is very possible, maybe they should consider their options. And if they still want Vance, they can pick Vance. But I think they're hiding from the big question because I think we all already know the answer. It seems like big tech CEOs, the kinds of people who would fund people like Little Vance, are doing pretty well for themselves, building up alliances where they need to. Maybe J.D. Vance will be a figurehead, but I don't see the same ties being built between J.D. Vance and real Americans. There are two major factions tying the Republican coalition together, and it's a disaster. The vast majority of them are evangelicals who see politics as about values and moralizing and making sure good people get rewarded and bad people get punished. And to them, Donald Trump is a Christ-like figure who they choose and follow and support uniquely. They don't even show up to vote in other elections. This is about the guy. So J.D. Vance offers them nothing. He will try to lie and recapture that, but I think they know it's not about his honest charisma or place in it. He did not earn that. He was not chosen by the people. He was chosen by Trump. And it wasn't Trump's first choice. And I think they would be concerned to know that J.D. Vance has been on 8 vacations in 7 months without doing any clear, notable work. But he did show up immediately to say he would be proud to take over power if something happened to Trump, that he's ready for that. So that's what he's showing up for. I think a lot of Republican voters would want to know that. The other faction in the Republican Party is a minority, and that is these sort of tech elite who think in terms of like realpolitik and personal gain. J.D. Vance is for them, but they are not the real average American. I also think part of what like weirds people out about J.D. Vance is like, I know this is weird. Is J.D. Vance trans? Like, J.D. Vance is a man in the same way a drag king is. Does that make sense? We've seen the old pictures of him in a wig. And he looked honest then. He looked happy then. He was himself, and he had no profit motive to be anything but himself. He had trans friends. He had lots of female friends. That's the crowd he ran with. But after Peter Thiel started giving him a lot of money, and he started running for Republican office, he's changed his look quite a lot. He used to not have a beard. He had very soft features, which he seemed to have no problem with showing off. Now he's grown a little beard. He's like trying to be that TikTok idea of hyper masculine, and he doesn't look happy. His eyes look beadier. He looks angrier. He looks a little hollow. I don't know, something to consider. He looks kind of like a, I don't know, he's like wrapped in that suit like a sausage. It doesn't, he's not shown any like authenticity to me, and I think that resonates with a lot of people. Princess Vance is not fit for the throne. Yes, I mean, I don't know what pronouns exactly we should use and refer to Vance. I think to Vance's credit, I think little Vance was chosen to be a good and loyal follower to Trump. Hasn't shown up much, but hasn't pushed back, right? Even endorsing war crimes. But I think little Vance also is a servant of two masters. And I think that's a little concerning. I think Peter Thiel is really out of touch and has a lot of money and is a little creepy. Because here's the thing, right? Of those two factions, the evangelicals, to whom Trump is a Christ-like figure, and the kind of more technocratic angle, who are very self-interested and want economic gain at the expense. They want to create like a technocracy. Trump is actually in the technocrat side. Like, he's rich. He wants to profit off of this. He wants to host big dinners for the elite in the Rose Garden Club, which is what he's calling his new little deep state. I think people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, to their credit, they've not been very smart before, but I think they're starting to learn a thing or two, are starting to get upset, and they're standing up to him because they believed in the evangelical moral crusade. That's why they supported him. That's probably why they ran, or at least part of it. And they are now just now realizing that they've been betrayed. That maybe Trump is a little more like the Antichrist in the Second Coming. I don't know. And he doesn't seem to care about protecting children from Epstein's friends, which he could do at any time. And so I think that's where we're starting to see these cracks form. Thank you. I'm glad the audio is good. So I don't know. I'm a thing, but I think a lot of Republicans have a lot of stuff to talk out and work out, and really start asking questions and holding each other accountable for. Because I think there's a lot of good, hardworking Americans who voted Republican because they thought it supported their moral Christian values, and are starting to see that the technocratic elites used them and lied to them. And I think that's something reasonable to be concerned about. Because this is Trump's economy. He inherited it. He's taken all the action he's wanted to take. He had his big bad bill. He's deported as many people as he wanted. And groceries aren't cheaper. So he has taken action. He's had the time to do that. He's been doing things. But some of the other things he's done are like paved over the rose gardens so we could have an elite dinner venue for his rich and powerful friends. You know, he's building a ballroom. Like, he's doing things. He's spending money. Who's it helping? Who's it hurting? So I think these are some reasonable concerns. And if this is Trump at his mental peak, I'm not impressed. I think some very smart people are starting to see through that. And I think a lot of people were mad at Biden because deep down, whether they identified as left or right or center, they held Biden to a higher standard because they expected that and they knew he could do it. So maybe there's a reason they're not concerned Trump isn't doing better. Maybe they see what to many people is looking like signs of maybe brain damage or some like mental decline, and they like that. They think that's smart enough or good enough, and I don't think that's good enough for America. I just think people deserve better. I think Gavin Newsom is looking pretty fit and healthy. Doesn't he run? He has like a runner's body. He's in pretty good shape for his age. You know, he's like kind of a silver fox, but yeah. Even JD Vance, he's young, but he looks a bit like a sausage. You know, he looks kind of squeezed in there. Seems to fluctuate, but he has like a chubby face. So, and we're seeing in Trump, we're seeing how his health is starting to go. It's just cardiovascular stuff. That's what happens. And I think if what's happening now isn't working out, I would be a little suspect about investing in these same moves in the future, right after. I think the president, if we have the option, you know, which we don't always do, but I think 2028 we could have the option, should be a good example for Americans. Should represent the best of us. Should look, you know, healthy, be successful. To Trump's credit, he has one skill. He's very good at marketing. He's very good at convincing people that he's rich. But he hasn't really earned or built a lot. He's spent a lot. He's bankrupted a lot. And you can be very good at marketing and still are not in a good place to be in charge of serious, important things, the business end of it. And he's bankrupted just about every business he's ever owned, and he's trying to do the same to the United States. And I think everyday Americans, left, right, and center, are paying the price. But I don't know, maybe if he protects Epstein's friends long enough, that groceries will magically become cheaper. Despicable. So I don't totally know if I need to take many notes on this. I'll take notes as we go for sure. But I have lots of my sources kind of already set up and tabbed out. I have stuff on Trump's fall and stumble. I have stuff on Trump's disappearance. I have stuff on Trump's weird bruises that are popping up. And here's the weird thing I've noticed also, because I asked someone about this earlier. Like, Trump has big bruises on his hand, right? And the official reason given by the White House is if you take aspirin, your hands bruise more, and he's been shaking so many hands. But Trump doesn't like shaking hands. He's pretty against it, right? I'll look up a source for that. Historically, he's a germaphobe. He doesn't like touching hands, and he won't if he doesn't have to. And he doesn't have to. So either he stopped being brave and standing up for what he likes and doesn't like, but even if he did shake all those hands, that's not really where a handshake would leave a bruise. Most of the force, right, would be on the outsides of your hands where they're squeezing your hands. And where the thumb goes is more towards your thumb a little bit. I tried this earlier. I tried shaking someone's hand, and you can too. Where the bruises weren't where you would be shaking a hand and where pressure would be put. The bruises were originating more down by the veins in like the center of his hand, which to me sounds a lot like where an IV would be placed, if you've ever had an IV. Yeah, true. He's rug pulling America. So I think, I don't know. I think the IV is a little vicious. I mean, I think that, I don't know. That makes sense to me. I don't know for sure, right? And we won't know for sure unless the FBI, sorry, unless the White House discloses Trump's medical records. Which I think Americans have a right to know. And I think all long-term American policy, especially dealing with trade and foreign governments, whether that's in peace or war, in economics or defense, are way less likely to give the U.S. a good long-term deal if the president has lame duck energy and seems like he could be on his way out any day now. And I think also it makes Trump a little more desperate to make big legacy throws that have no long-term chance of surviving or standing or doing good. Because it seems pretty consistent to me his bigger concern is feeling strong now and ending on a high note, even if the next day is a disaster. I think it affects his decision making. So yeah, he was officially diagnosed with chronic venous insufficiency. So it is pretty common. It ends up affecting 1 in 3 adults, and there's different degrees it can progress. Oh yeah, he risks developing a deep vein clot, which could, again, up those odds. He could just drop down. And yeah, not enough physical activity, sitting or standing for long periods of time. I don't think golf is going to do it. Obesity. And there's something here about the progression of it too, which I think is very concerning. Here we go. Yeah. As it progresses, here are the symptoms that Donald Trump would start to feel. He's definitely past the first one. You feel symptoms like achy or tired legs. The veins become more visible and are at least 3 millimeters wide. Swelling changes to your skin's color and texture. Did you notice at his press conference when he finally showed up, he was wearing a lot more spray tan than usual? He was like very orange, and you could see almost like a Nightwing kind of mask shaped around his eyes. So they might have just sprayed him up before that. So like his skin starting to change color. He's looking redder, and eventually ulcers. It seems painful, and I think it's an important question. Like especially if you're in a high pressure job where you need to make sound decisions, and you're in a lot of pain. Do you think you're making as good decisions? Do you think that could maybe make you like a little more impulsive and short-tempered and irritable? Like I think that might be a problem in itself. just having this condition. I think Trump has a long history of picking not very good people. What's her face? The lady. She's Hawaiian. She's dark hair with like a white stripe in it. Was like leaking American spies' personal information, which endangers American lives. Um, uh, Pete Hegseth, glug glug glug. Wants Department of War to be badass. Keeps leaking government secrets. Um, I've heard he's striking civilian boats with no government oversight or no justice, and then claiming after the fact that they were drugs and not people, which is a disaster. I think there's not a lot of accountability there. Even one that Maga would clearly see and agree with. He picked Mike Pence. And I don't know what he thought of Mike Pence, but clearly he was wrong. So I don't think Trump has a very good eye for picking people. Not the way he wants. Like, he's not meeting his own stated goals. I think Pence was an honest, like, evangelical Christian in that camp. I think Pence did think he was trying to do the right thing morally with his politics, and he does not have some very good politics, but I think he has some good reason for having his politics, even if their ideas are not very smart. Be right back. We're gonna hop in the debate soon.
What's going on?
What's up?
This guy,
Can
obviously.
you still hear me, chat? Cool.
I got all my shit actually set up this time. I'm not starting to stream with giant text all over my webcam. And my webcam's, I upgraded my webcam, so it's like actual higher quality.
What webcam do you use?
Honestly, I have no fucking clue because I literally ordered it on Amazon like 3 days ago. I can go pull it up. Hold on.
Where's Destiny?
I believe he is complaining about his son on his stream, or at least that is the last thing that I saw when I was looking at his stream.
Water's wet.
True. Nova
He's
4K
here.
webcam for PC. I can go send you a DM with a link to it if you want.
Okay. Oh, my camera is lagging somehow.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know on my OBS end, everything looks fine, but then I go to my stream and then my camera quality just drops like a rock, and I don't know what's happening.
We are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RGR Roundtable. I am your host, Riley Grace Rochong, and these are our wonderful panelists. Say hi, wonderful panelists.
Hello.
Well, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. So, for our panelists and for the people who are watching, this is the second show in this series. While there's no perfect way of doing this, I'm trying to incorporate feedback and make adjustments as I go. Namely, tonight, you'll notice that not only are we cutting down severely on the number of panelists since last time, but I've also vetted each panelist to make sure that there are 2 panelists on each side of this debate. So, Vince, you all right there? Are you glitching out a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, but you're still with us.
Yes, of course.
All right, all good, all good. Then let's get right into it. For tonight, here are the rules in case you forgot from last time. Number one, if I'm talking, stop talking. I don't want to participate, so if I get involved, it's either to simulate conversation or to get things back on track. Number two, be respectful of me. You can hate on each other, name calling, all that sort of stuff is fine, but I'm putting in a lot of work to make this happen, so don't make this hard. So don't make things harder on me than necessary. And number three, stay on topic. Related tangents are fine, but don't dig up unrelated personal drama. And with that, let's go around and have our panelists briefly introduce themselves. North, would you like to go first?
Sure, I'm North. You can find me on YouTube at North is Live, or you can find me on X at That Guy's North. I'm an ever-Trump Republican. I'm a conservative, but like pre-2016, I guess. I hate Trump and I hate MAGA. Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to me.
Wait, is my camera on for you guys, or is it off?
Your camera is not on.
Oh, you just weren't going to say anything? Oh, okay, fuck you guys.
Yeah, no, we're just gonna let you like flounder like that.
That's good, okay.
You
Whatever.
manage your own stuff. Vince, go ahead.
Okay, hello, I'm Vince. I usually do pro-Ukraine content with occasional politics. I'm mostly centrist, more leaning to the left. That's my political position. You can find me on Real Visigoths. It's RealVisigoth, Real Visigoths. It's everywhere: Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, everywhere, TikTok. So yeah.
All right. She's right. Go ahead. Cool. And last but not least, Destiny, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Destiny. I do politics and gaming stuff sometimes.
Cool. With that, the topic for today is whether or not Trump is mentally and physically fit to continue serving as president. Since we have a smaller panel tonight, I'll go around and have each panelist give a brief opening statement, with those alleging that Trump is not mentally and physically fit to continue serving as president go first. After all the statements are done, then y'all can freely discuss as you like. Destiny, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I don't think he's physically fit for the presidency. I think there are two huge issues right now relating to Trump. I think the first is that his default mental baseline is so low that it's almost impossible to even accurately evaluate him from the outside. If you talk to any conservative and you ask them things about Trump, like they make excuses for it constantly. Even like the more centrist actors will admit that like he's always been kind of like wrong when it comes to remembering country names, remembering leaders' names, remembering when the war in Ukraine began, remember just basic facts about anything, forgetting the fact that he's the one that put in Jerome Powell and saying he doesn't know who did it. Like there's just so many times where he's messed up, but his mental baseline has always been so low, it's hard to even tell if he's getting worse. Although you can tell from his speech patterns and everything that he has slowed down significantly. And then the second issue is that Trump's admin has already shown that they are willing to lie about his medical record. We're now finding out that he has chronic issues relating to delivering blood back to his heart. He's got these massive swollen fucking cankles this is a chronic condition. So apparently it's been hidden for some time period from us. And now we see that he's on a bunch of new drugs related to, things that you would use for ischemic strokes. I don't know if that's what's actually happening or not, but the issue is, again, as I said, one, we can't evaluate him from the outside because his mental baseline is already so low. And then two, we already know that his own doctor is willing to lie, like he did about his weight and height as well. So.
Thank you. And then next, she's right. Do you want to go ahead?
True. I agree that whether or not he's showing signs of dementia or he's always been this stupid is MAGA's cross to bear. But I do know that physically he's very, very old. I believe at this point the oldest president we've ever had. He's having heart problems, which are very predictable based on his lifestyle. Even the ones that have been officially disclosed, I don't know if that's all his health problems. And I think that makes him a ticking time bomb where there's a reasonable possibility he could drop dead any day, which is bad for long-term policy negotiations, economics, trade, anything like that. Where you need a vested interest in what happens tomorrow to be a good representative of it. And I think it's other leaders are not going to take him seriously, and I don't think he is thinking with tomorrow in mind.
All right, and then we'll head over to the other side. Vince, you want to go ahead?
I think Trump is not perfect in terms of health, and I definitely don't want to cover for him, but I have to today. He mentally, I think he's pretty fine. I don't want to compare, but he's definitely better than Biden. And I think he's pretty fit. He might have been better, and he's pretty dumb and does a lot of mistakes. But I don't think he has dementia or anything like that. So I think mentally, unless you consider him mentally ill, which he probably is, I think he's pretty fine. So I think he can run the country.
And lastly, North, you want to go ahead with an opening statement?
If we're going to criticize someone, we got to make sure the criticism is real and not some sort of baseless speculation. The memes are pretty funny, but I've seen pretty much zero evidence that Trump's physical and mental health are to the point that he needs to be like removed from the office of the presidency. Based on the Constitution as we know it, the 25th Amendment and past precedent with other presidents, we can clearly see that. I don't like Trump, but I don't see any reason why he should be removed based off of his physical and mental health alone. That's pretty much it.
Great. With that, y'all can get into it however you want to.
Well, I'm going to kill you. I feel like it's harder because there are questions you could ask to conservatives, but if these two weren't genuinely conservatives, it changes the conversation a little. I think one big issue right now that I would say is a fun test for conservatives. If you were to ask them, could Trump die in any way right now that you wouldn't assume is a conspiracy? I think that most conservatives would actually honestly answer they wouldn't believe it. Like if Trump has a heart attack, they would say he got poisoned. If Trump were to fall down the stairs, they'd say they were oiled up and he slipped. If Trump were to, if anything were to happen to him, I don't even think a conservative could accept that right now. Do either of you disagree with that? I guess it's not relevant necessarily if you're not.
I mean, I don't think
I
it's
think I
relevant to
agree.
the conversation about whether Trump is fit or not. Like whether a conservative will accept the fact that Trump is healthy or not doesn't matter to the subject matter at all.
Kind of, but I think it gives a little bit more weight to the idea that maybe his health is a thing that we should be concerned about, because if Biden's health was like severely failing and Biden were to have an issue, we saw the whole Democratic Party call out Biden and say, "Oh, you need to step down." And then it happened, and then Kamala. Well, it happened in terms of re-election, and then Kamala stepped up instead. But with Trump, the Conservative Party wouldn't be able to do it. So we could literally have a guy rolling around the Oval Office, like forgetting leader names, forgetting people that he's put into power, disappearing from media for 3 or 4 days, not knowing what he's talking. These are all things that he does. Having executive orders explained to him while the shadow government actually runs the organization. Like these are things that have happened to Trump that I don't even think happened to Biden.
Well, the reason why we know that Trump is, he disappears for several days without us knowing where he is the fact that he's on a media presence a lot more than past presidents. I mean, you would look at Obama, George Bush, and especially Biden. They were not on the media just as much as Trump is. So I don't think that's necessarily an indicator that Trump's health is failing if he disappears for 3
true,
days
but they
on
had
the
work
golf course.
schedules posted publicly and publicly available. Trump's schedule was completely cleared. And then after the fact, they put on one interview appearance on the Wayback Machine. People confirmed that was not there. But we can prove they're working. We know they're doing something even without being on media.
Okay, but how does him canceling an event indicate some sort of health problem? For all we know, he just didn't want to attend because he doesn't give a fuck, because I don't think he does honestly really give a fuck, and he just blew it off to go golfing. How does that necessarily indicate a health problem?
I don't think it necessarily does, but when this guy's obsessed with media attention, when now we've discovered that there are problems that we only know about because people pointed it out, it's not like they proactively came to us with the chronic venous, whatever it was. It was because people noticed his ankles were fucking huge, and because this guy is trying to dress up his hand every single day when he's getting IVs for whatever medication he's taken, right? This wasn't revealed to us. This was discovered, and they were forced to make a public statement on it after he had said that he was the most open president about his health ever. So we know now they're willing to lie about stuff like that. We know that his weight was a lie in that report published by his friendly doctor. So, all of these things taken collectively, while this guy disappears for a few days, the press isn't allowed to get close to take pictures, even though this guy is giving half of his interviews outside of his fucking airplane and his helicopter, right? Now all of a sudden he disappears for 3 or 4 days. I think that's pretty weird. It's kind of a cause for concern.
Well, it could be a cause for concern, but it's nothing definitive. It's all completely speculative, and especially when you're
Isn't
calling
that
for
the
him to be
problem?
removed from the office of the president, or when we're determining if he's going to be removable from the office of the presidency. I mean,
It has to be speculative, right? We'll never get anything definitive from them, right?
no, probably not, unless someone leaks documents. But
Well, they
Well, then
do
it
that
has to
quite
be
a bit.
speculative, right?
but then is it speculative? Is speculation on Trump's health enough to get him removed from the office of the presidency, or give a legitimate enough argument that he should be removed? I mean, take Biden, for example, throughout his entire presidency, we see people constantly criticizing, mostly on the conservative side, but also on the liberal side, as you said, at the very end of his presidency, that Biden's health was not good, and that there should be possible action taken of him, either stepping down or having his advisors do more of the work than what he would be doing. What the fuck was I going with this argument?
That might be true that people were worried about something, but that's because Biden's cognitive baseline was way, 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 way higher than Trump's. Trump shows less cognitive ability right now than Biden did at his lowest points.
What evidence do you have for that? Because I've seen
Trump
the
arguing
Trump
with the current
speeches in
president of
him.
Ukraine when Crimea was invaded would be a big one. Him not knowing that he was the one that appointed Powell is a big one. Him having to have every single executive order that he signs explained to him. I couldn't find a single example of Biden having to have his own EOs explained to him. I think that's a big one.
Okay, do you think Trump could? Okay, I personally think that Trump is a chronic liar. Like, can we all agree on that?
Do you think he
He's
lied
really-
when he said he was going to Russia to talk to Putin, but he was actually just going to Alaska? Was that a lie?
I think he just makes shit up when he goes. I don't think
Okay.
that's
Well, now you're
necessarily
doing the
determinative
thing-
of like a
yeah.
cognitive decline.
Sure. So
that,
you're doing
like
the
he could
thing-
just make shit up whenever it's determined. Like the whole
Yeah.
2 week shit, you know? Like,
But
oh, we're
you're
gonna go talk about it
doing
in
the
2
thing right now
weeks.
that I said conservatives would do. That you'll never accept. There is no evidence that we can show because you'll just say he's making it up, he's memeing, he's joking. This is the same thing conservatives.
Well,
would
I'm
say
saying
if anybody-
I'm not saying he's making it up as in like to discredit what he says. I'm just saying that he's just like a chronic liar, and that's like
Why would he lie about not remembering appointing Jerome Powell?
Well, it's not him. Well, the reason why he would lie is because he wants to criticize Jerome Powell, right? He doesn't give a fuck. He's like, oh, I don't know who the fuck that guy is, and that's like an insult against him, I guess, because he can't admit that he's the one that.
Why would he lie about when the Ukrainian war started?
Why would he lie? Because he doesn't give a fuck.
I think
Why would
America
he, when,
does
when he
deserve
was
a
with the
president
South
who gives a
African
fuck.
president and they asked him about the genocide case? Do you remember watching with the South African president?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, he didn't know what that case was about, and he rattled off some nonsense answer about we hope for a good verdict. He has no idea that South Africa is the country that brought the genocide case against Israel. He didn't know about any of these things. Has there ever been moments where Biden has demonstrated that level of a lack of subject matter knowledge on when he's talking to world leaders? What about when the guy was right in front of him, the president of I forget which country? Was it the Netherlands or Denmark or whatever? Was right in front of him and he didn't know who he was. He's like, oh, where's this guy? I'm looking for him. The guy's like, I'm right in front of you.
I think there's a ton of speculation here that he does in fact know everything and then he's lying because he doesn't care about it.
Finland.
I don't think that's been substantiated at all. I think the far simpler explanation is that he just doesn't know. Where is this information that you think he's lying about? Has he ever proven that?
Well, I think my speculation on whether he's lying or not is probably the same amount as my evidence for my speculation is probably as much evidence that you have for your speculation. I mean,
Well, no, our evidence is that he's saying things that are incorrect. And usually if somebody's saying they're something that's wrong, it's because they're incorrect about the information. If you're trying to you're giving like an affirmative defense for them being wrong about something. All we've said is he's wrong. The general default explanation is he's wrong because he either doesn't know it or he's losing his mind. But you're saying he's actually faking it. Where are these people?
I'm just saying that he doesn't give a fuck. He'll stick with a claim, and then he'll just make up whatever the fuck he wants about just to stay with that claim.
Okay, well, if he has that medical ailment, if he's actually like a chronic liar, whatever they call it, a compulsive liar, I think that that's a 25th Amendment removable condition anyway, then. That would qualify just as much. Because he can't be trusted then with anything, right?
Well, I guess. Well,
Okay, cool. All right. I'm good with that.
Vince, what do you got to say? You haven't said much so far.
Yeah, I think he also might be just dumb or clueless, more like clueless, like he just doesn't know stuff. But I don't think that qualifies him as mentally unstable or something.
You go
Is a
back
stable
to
idiot good enough to rule the country?
well, it depends if you elect an idiot to the president of the United States, you know, does that inherently disqualify him like the moment that he steps into office? Like is idiocy a mental disorder? Or narcissism
retardation
or
is.
mental retardation is? Well, I'd like to see the extra chromosome study on Donald Trump. I think that'd be pretty interesting.
I just think it's scary that like this guy seems to be utterly clueless about almost every single thing around him. I couldn't find any clips. I couldn't find any videos or anything of people handing executive orders to presidents for them to sign and explaining them to the president while he's signing them. That's very scary to me. Now, I don't know if it's because Trump is clueless, doesn't care, doesn't have the cognitive capacity to understand them anymore. There is no. I can't find a comparison. Like, what do you
think
make
that?
of that?
Do you think that Trump is actually like the one making game plans when it comes to his presidency? Like when Trump talks about like the South African genocide, do you think he's going through like and doing research on like South Africa, or he's like looking at the news of like, oh, what's going on in South Africa, or is he being like fed information?
He's being
basically
Bad information.
his,
The South African thing came from Elon Musk for 100%.
Yeah, so it could just be that he just doesn't give a shit. He's being fed information, and then he'll just spout whatever bullshit he hears.
But,
Yeah,
but
sounds
isn't
like
the
a senile
problem?
person. Okay.
Well, it is a
Like-
problem, but I'm not sure if you can say that he's a retard because of that.
Hold on. If he spouts whatever bullshit that he hears, is that just the average? Is that a diagnosis of being senile, or is that just like, I don't know, any MAGA supporter ever? You know, whenever they're hearing whatever the fuck they hear on Fox News, they're gonna be spouting whatever bullshit that they hear. I mean, it's just
Well,
like,
yeah,
would
but
you
they're
call
supposed to be
everyone?
spouting, when you say spouting bullshit, they're supposed to be getting the bullshit from Trump. They're not supposed to
Yeah.
be getting bullshit from other people.
I think it's, well, I do think it's legitimately it's a feedback loop. You know, it's like the media will say some bullshit and then Trump will say it, and then the media will take Trump's word and they'll feed it back to the people.
Which
Like,
is a recipe for insanity. He's drinking from the hose of his own propaganda.
yes, but is that just because? Just because he drinks from his own hose of propaganda, does that necessarily mean that he's mentally deficient enough to not be able to uphold like the office of presidency?
It means he's been shown evidence that he will believe himself and believe he's doing the right thing regardless of what the truth is, and I think that's a concern. There's no accountability to any greater population or medical authority. He's buying his own beliefs from himself.
Yes, I mean, I don't think he has any accountability with whatever the fuck he says or whatever the fuck he does. But I don't think the mere fact that he doesn't have any accountability when it comes to things like that, and just because you don't have any accountability doesn't necessarily disqualify him medically or physically.
I think here's the question. I think it's the hardest question in the world. What cognitive signs would Trump have to exhibit for us to think that like there might be something going on with him?
Like something that like Biden did on his debates when he was like stuttering completely, like.
He's had that stutter
like
since he was a kid
element.
in elementary school. So like, how does that prove cognitive decline?
Well, that wasn't
forget
just
Biden.
that.
We don't. So we've watched Trump like have like mishaps when it comes to speaking. We've watched him mix up names. We've watched him mix up dates. We've watched him mix up geographic locations. Like the only difference is Biden actually tries to
Jesse,
find the right there. Yeah.
Do you remember the Bushisms from like George Bush and all that? Like, would you consider that a sign of cognitive decline with George Bush?
No, because Bush was just searching for turns of phrase and was fucking him up. Trump is like saying he's going to Russia when he's going to Alaska. I don't think there was no Bushisms like that. The Bushisms are like, fool me once, shame on you, fool me another time, and or whatever. Like it was him like saying fucking up shit like that.
I think Bush is a great comparative example of like mostly harmless stupidity. I think we're playing with a whole new level here. That's actually a liability to American interests.
Well, we can say that he's stupid, but then again, that goes back to what I was saying before, is just because he's stupid, does that necessarily mean that he's necessarily disqualified from the office of the presidency?
Like, I think we get like our fire when he was on the red carpet, when he was in Alaska, when he was zigzagging back and forth. Was that?
What the fuck are you talking about?
The inability of him to walk straight to the. Do you have the video of this?
Oh no, I've not seen that. No.
Pull it up. Somebody pull it up.
Someone pull it up.
You're gonna put this on me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Damn. All
You're
right.
the host.
All right. Put me to work. All right. Let's see. Dustin, you're talking about when he was walking down the red carpet in Russia, right?
Not in Russia, in Alaska.
Well, you also
is that a sign of cognitive decline right there?
Maybe I need to submit myself for some mental evaluation. All right, let's see. Trump, red carpet.
In the meantime, I think we have jumped past a very important point that was made earlier, where if something did happen to Trump, I think it's enough of a misinformation behind closed doors kind of situation right now with no external accountability, that if something happened to Trump, how long would it be before you knew about it? And could you trust that reporting? I don't think with the structure he's built around himself, we would. And I think that's why people were nervous the past few days.
So I got this pulled up. I'll play this whenever people want me to.
Play it now.
I'm watching. Yeah, play it now.
Is this on your stream or what do we?
It's I'm just to Discord.
Just seconds after President Trump has emerged from his. So Trump
is it going to pop up as a stream? Is it playing now? Am I stupid?
Here.
I shared it to Discord, so you should be able to if you look in the Discord windows, you should be able to see it there.
Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
As Vladimir Putin makes his way down the stairs, all of this presumably choreographed between the two sides very tightly in terms of the protocol here of who greets who and when, and whether each man waits.
So far, doesn't look that bad.
For the handshake, all of that is something that both sides will have thought through very clearly. Striking to me, Scott, that you have this setup here.
Look at him on the left. Watch him here. What's going on here, guys?
Blue platform for the leaders to stand on, which aides were vigorously vacuuming in the hour leading up to this meeting. But then flanking the stage are F-22 jets.
I don't think it looks that bad,
F-22 jets,
honestly.
noses pointed in
Hold
toward
on.
where the two
Let him walk.
leaders will be standing.
Right.
It's got to be somewhat unpleasant for Vladimir Putin, at least, to stand underneath that display of American firepower.
Well,
That was a full. He traveled left to right almost.
Yeah, left, right,
twice.
almost back. Yeah.
What's going on there, guys?
Even then, I don't think that's necessarily disqualifying of him remaining in the office of the presidency. I mean, we've had was it FDR was bound to a fucking wheelchair, during I don't know how many fucking years in his term.
Wait, what does that have to do with this?
Well, you're saying that his mobility issues would disqualify
No,
him
those
from
were
being
not mobility issues. Those are neurological issues, my friend.
No, you say neurological issues.
Oh yeah.
maybe he's just a goofy guy, just walking like a zigzag.
Well, wait, how would you determine that it would be neurological versus physical?
Because when we watch him talk, he's fucking retarded. And now when we watch him walk, he's fucking retarded.
I don't think that's determinative of anything. I mean,
here's the difference. FDR's legs didn't have any reasonable impact on his heart or his brain, right? That's not what we're seeing here. There's a serious risk
Are
not
you
only
saying
of
that
anything mental, but also death.
Are you saying him moving left and right on the red carpet, that's going to have an impact on his brain?
Well, it would be neurological in that it's the nervous system.
How
right?
do we
It's
know
like how
that
you're
it's
controlling the
Yeah, how do we know it's neurological? I'm pretty sure there are other medical things he could possibly have that probably would not disqualify him from the presidency. That would not be neurological. That would be physical.
Possibly, but I think the issue is that we don't know. That's the issue. I think there was a good question asked earlier from She's Right of if something were going on, have they even made an official announcement yet about why he's getting IVs in the hand?
They actually said it was due to handshakes.
Of the chronic. What? Say again?
Oh, true.
They didn't say it was IVs. They
lied
said it was
about
due to
that. They said it was
handshakes.
because of
That's not where the bruise
handshakes.
was.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Even though it's openly stated he's germophobic and has been for years and doesn't like handshakes and is on the record historically admitting this and tries not to do them when he can. I don't think I've seen him shake a lot of hands lately. I don't know, maybe I missed something. It seems out of character for him. And where the bruise was, if you shake someone else's hand, isn't where the pressure would be in a handshake. It was by the veins in the bottom kind of middle of your hand, exactly where they would put an IV. I don't know, but that's a possibility. But
even then,
that goes against what the White House has said.
The getting an IV in his hand for whatever reason it might be, obviously it's not for handshaking. That still is not an argument for him being removed from the office of presidency. It's still just speculation.
Yeah, it is. But
okay, you guys keep.
We've already said we can't know.
Yeah, you guys keep going back to that point that we can't. Mm-hmm. Of course, we can't know because this administration lies about fucking everything. Of course, we can't know, but that's still because we can't know. That means that we can't make a determinative factor whether he's healthy or not.
You're correct. I think there could be disqualifying factors right now that we don't know about, which means he should be disqualified and they're hiding it. That is a valid possibility on the table right now, and the White House has done nothing to dispel that.
Okay, well, so when you're talking about a president and you don't know what their current health status is, do you assume that they are going to be healthy or are you going to assume that they're going to be unhealthy? Like
when
you're making
we would assume they're unhealthy. I would say they literally just lie about everything. I don't think that lying necessarily determines one way or another. What else do they lie about? What do you mean?
Sorry, one second.
Why would they lie and say he's unhealthy if he's healthy?
Hold on, pause. Vince, did you want to say something?
Yeah.
Sorry, you both talking in a second.
Yeah, I just don't think it's disqualifying. Even if he has an IV, that's not necessarily a neurological condition. So
Yeah, but we don't know, and he lied about the IV. I don't think they've even publicly acknowledged the IV.
No, they have given a contract.
If we don't know, then how can we disqualify him if we don't know?
Because if they're lying about it, it's because they know it'd be something disqualifying.
Well, we don't know that for sure. It may be, but it may be not.
Why don't I hear it? Let me just give a little bit of background that I think could help the conversation. The reason I wanted to have this panel is because a week or so ago, there was obviously the whole weekend where Trump wasn't making any media appearances and he wasn't seen by anybody. And also, like She's Right pointed out, they had cleared his calendar, right? And then added stuff to it after. Now, the thing that got to me that made me want to have people talk about this is that then they had the press conference, which some people have said is kind of it's functioned like a proof of life conference, essentially, where they did the Space Force announcement. But then one reporter did ask, they asked Trump, "Hey, did you hear about any of the claims this weekend or any of the speculation that you may have been dead or that you may have died over the weekend?" And he shrugged it off and like, "No, I didn't hear anything." Right? That to me feels well, I mean, like there's a bajillion things you can make out of it. Like, sure, like Vince, the way you're saying, it feels speculative, but that's why I wanted to have this discussed, is because like, is there reason to believe that they're being dishonest, or that if they did know about anything that would be disqualifying, that they would be dishonest about it right now? Because like the idea that they just weren't aware of any of this feels crazy to me. Sorry, that's all I'll say. I'll go back to shutting up.
Is dishonesty a disqualifying factor?
Is a
Well,
clean
it's-
record for not doing the job for a whole week a disqualifying factor? Like, regardless of what happened or why, evidently the conclusion was he was not doing the job.
Wasn't dishonesty
Well,
literally the disqualifying factor for Bill Clinton? Isn't that what he got impeached over?
Yes, but that's not
Yes.
over health and like physical. Or,
No, I know. I was responding to
yeah.
the dishonesty thing. I think that like there's a partially meme argument, right? That like, well, I mean, we can't know that he's disqualified, but the serious argument behind the meme argument is that we know for a fact that they've lied about his health multiple times.
Yes.
We know that 100% for a fact. Number one. Number
True.
two, we know, and anybody has to admit, if you watch clips of him now, I get surprised watching clips of him in 2016. He is significantly slowed down. Okay, so we know that he's significantly slowed down. We know that they lie about his health, and we also know that he has a surprising lack of information about things that he should know about, but it's hard to compare prior to this because he is a dumb fuck. So the fact that he's mixing up names, not remembering people that he's appointed to positions, not knowing all the time where he's going, and that all of his executive orders have to be explained to him. He can't even read off a teleprompter, and the only thing he can present with honor and pride are like renaming things like the DOD or the Gulf of Mexico. All of these things are true. Those four are 100% true. So the fifth thing, the only question is it reasonable to infer from that if Donald Trump experienced a health event that led to a severe cognitive impact, like some sort of stroke, would we expect this administration to tell us? What do you think the answer is to that?
I don't think they will tell.
then if
I
he's
don't think they
already
can hide
done
it.
Well, but they did. They tried to for 4 days, right? If he's having
Yeah,
like
they hit
ischemic,
him.
like temporary, ischemic strokes or whatever, and he's having some cognitive slowdowns, like how would we know?
Well,
If
you don't know if
he's
they're
gone for
hiding
4
anything.
yeah.
Okay, so if someone lies about something, right, that doesn't necessarily mean like the opposite of what they said is necessarily true, right?
Correct, not necessarily, yeah.
Like, we can't make any definitive statement about whether, like, we just know that what they said is not true. If
Yeah,
we know
but we
that they
can
lied about it.
infer what they're lying about, right? If you ask your significant other, where were you last night, and you find out they lied about where they were, you're probably not thinking, wow, he said he was going to John's. I know he wasn't at John's. He was probably at Luke's. That's not what you're going to be thinking. You're thinking he was at fucking Jane's or Samantha. He was at some other bitch's house. That's probably what you're going to be thinking, right? Generally, when somebody's lying to obscure the truth, it's not to move from one harmless fact to another harmless fact. It's because you're trying to cover up something that's harming you.
I don't need to know where he is. I know they have successfully now established precedent that he could be completely missing for 3 or 4 days after showing signs of medical issues and then not tell us and then come back and then say nothing happened and he's healthier than ever. That's a concern to me for the future.
So, okay, so hold on. I'm going to go try to address these things one at a time. Dusty, you mentioned significant cognitive slowdown or speech slowdown between 2016 and today, correct?
Yep.
Would you say that also happened when you go like 2016 Biden versus, I guess, today, or at least the end of his presidency?
A little bit, but Trump's has been more severe, for sure.
You
I
would
don't
say
think
it's
so.
more severe?
Absolutely. Comparing 2016 Biden to 2024 Biden, to compare that from 2016 Trump to 2024 Trump, for sure. Biden's, that last debate was pretty rough, but I mean, it's not like Biden started off at a super elevated position. Now, if you want to go back to like 90s Biden, sure. But Trump's slowdown has been significant and severe, for sure.
And then what was it? The second point. She's right. What did you say before about
They've covered stuff up. We know they've lied about stuff.
Oh yeah, right. But we don't know if that's necessarily a health claim either. Like you're making an assumption that it is a health claim.
For sure.
That they could, but again, I will always circle back to that doesn't necessarily determine anything.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be a possibility, right?
I mean, yeah, I will admit that there's a possibility, but is
But
the
there shouldn't be a
panel that was
possibility,
going to be
right?
like a possibility of him like being physically or mentally removed? Because I think like any debate panel where you're just debating the possibility of something, I think that's kind of like it's kind of hard to argue.
If somebody aims a gun at you because they think it'd be a funny joke and they pull the trigger and there's no bullet inside, right? They didn't actually harm you, and they could do that an infinite amount of times. And if as long as it's empty every time, it's not going to harm you. But you would probably never hang out with that person again just because of the possibility there could be a bullet in one time. If there's even the possibility that the president is lying about his health, and we've already in order to say that that possibility is true, you kind of have to do a lot of groundwork. But this administration has done the groundwork. You would have to lie about his health. They've done that multiple points. You would have to pretend not to even acknowledge big health things. They're doing that right now with the IV and the handshake thing. You'd have to show a propensity to lie about stuff, which they've done as well related. And so all of these circumstances have now been met. And it's like, okay, if something were to happen to him, like everything has been met, why would they not lie about it? It seems like they've already shown the capacity to do all of these things.
I guess, well, there's also a precedent of the fact that he's known for literally every small little thing he's showing up in the media, right? So I don't think they could.
4 days where he disappeared, right?
Well, except for those 4 days that they disappeared, sure, but he was still forced to show up after those 4 days, right? It's not like it was still missing like up until this day. I mean,
well, sure, but then what if it's 5 days next time? What if there's a huge attack on Ukraine? What if there's a huge attack in Gaza? What if something happens on day 2 of that and our president is fucking Mia?
Yes, but that's not what happened. It was literally gone for 4 or is every time a president is gone for 4 days that we don't see them, are we going to be assuming that they're going to be like either dead or have a stroke or they're
he was
like
uncharacteristically absent from everything.
And most administrations aren't showing a propensity to lie about the health like this.
But
that's
okay,
the issue.
but
the issue is he lied about it.
He lies about fucking everything, though. Like I don't
agree.
think
it's not good.
So lying about his health doesn't. This is like the reason why they're lying. Like if you're always untruthful, then being untruthful about something doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like what? Okay, what is something about this administration that they were truthful on? Like, can you tell me that? Like, is there anything in this administration that you can like take? Either what Trump said or like what one of his lackeys said, like at their word.
I don't know if if I can't think of anything, does this cut in your favor?
Well, if they're always lying about something, then them lying about it doesn't necessarily mean anything. Like, of course.
There's 3 positions you can have on this. You can either have that we know for a fact that he's healthy. We can either have the second position that we can't really know 100%, or we can have the third position that we know he's not healthy, right? But what we're arguing is that when it comes to the president of the United States, position 2 and 3 are basically the same. I can't have the leader of the free world, of the largest nuclear arsenal of the planet. I can't have that leader's health condition have a high level of opacity to the rest of the world. That should never, ever, ever be in doubt.
Well, isn't that why we have the 25th Amendment, to never put that in doubt? So in case like the president does fall into a sudden health problem, that they're able to very quickly change power from the president to the vice president.
But we don't know if they would do that.
Yeah. And this is
why
you don't
know if you're going to do that with any administration.
Well, they probably would, right? When Biden had a bad debate performance, by the way, Biden was showing none of the signs of senility or cognitive decline that Trump is. He just had a really bad debate performance, okay? Biden wasn't forgetting names of people, not knowing where he was going, forgetting names of world leaders or people that he's appointed, being unable to explain the executive orders. Biden didn't have any of those symptoms. He just sucked ass at a certain debate, which if that was disqualifying, then I mean, there's a lot of people that you could talk about for that. But Biden didn't have any of those issues. If Trump has shown issues, and the whole Republican Party just closes their eyes on it. So why would we expect any of them to point any of it out? Fucking Obama and Pelosi were bullying Biden behind the scenes about his health stuff, and everything was getting leaked to the media about it. For Donald Trump, the guy disappears for 4 days, and then, like it was said, like was it Carolina or somebody else was like, oh, I didn't even notice he was gone, LOL, who's even saying anything? Oh, I didn't even see that. Oh.
That's still not... Their propensity to cover up shit still is not a determination.
It's not determinate. We understand that, but it's...
Yeah.
I want to bring it back into this.
It is a possibility.
Because it's a possibility.
Yeah, like how anything is like a possibility. Like
no, but here's the thing. This is why
it wasn't a possibility with Biden. That doesn't seem to be possible.
Wait,
and this is why Clinton was impeached.
With Biden? Okay.
Because they had a reasonable concern.
You mentioned, after the debate
North,
with...
go ahead and finish your point, then she's right. So North, go ahead.
Okay. After the debate with that Biden had with Trump, you mentioned Kamala Harris. Were you going to say that Kamala Harris took over, invoked the 25th Amendment and then took over the the powers of like the presidency, or
Well, I mean, literally, she has before, kind of, not through invocation of the 25th Amendment, but when Biden went under anesthesia for his colonoscopy, she was president for like 2 hours. She had the powers
isn't that under
for
the 25th Amendment? Is like
no,
a
it wasn't
temporary
the
for like a
25th
medical
Amendment.
thing?
I don't think it was 25th Amendment, but like there was a turnover for it. Donald Trump would never do this.
Didn't he? I'm pretty sure he did that for Sir. Hold on, I have notes on this.
I think he would do it for once.
Hold
You're getting into it. She's right. I know you had a point. Go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, so why Clinton was impeached is because they caught him lying about something once, and then the argument, at least, supposedly in good faith, was that because he lied about this, even though it was personal about policy, this means he's now lost his credibility and trust because who knows what else he could be lying about, right? And that's because that was a possibility that he's lost that credibility. That was enough concern why he'd be impeached, not because he did anything like really bad and directly related to the job, but because that could be the case, and there was a reasonable likelihood of that based on that. So with Trump, it's his health could go down, he could die, and there's no way we'd know about it. It could happen anytime, and I think that's a reasonable liability, which starts to raise good questions about can and should he do the job.
Oh, and actually, I'm sorry, for Kamala, it was via the 25th Amendment because he wrote a letter and then she transferred powers back afterwards, I think.
Okay, so it was under the 25th Amendment. Hold on.
Yeah.
I swear that Trump went over I guess I was thinking of the COVID thing that happened, and
But I think that was
he
during the
did not.
season.
Yeah, it was not during the. He couldn't evoke the 25th.
Oh, no, wait. He was president because I was running against Biden, wasn't it? Yeah, when he got COVID. It wasn't
2020?
2016. It would have been 2020.
Yeah, 2020. He tested positive for COVID-19, hospitalized at the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center.
Did he transfer power to anybody when he was?
Did he?
He
turned
had
to
to
the
transfer it to Pence. Oof.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah, Trader Pence is what they call him. Pence, my personal hero.
I don't think he actually did, though. Did he?
Did he?
No, he didn't. He was hospitalized
Interesting.
on October 2nd, or he tested positive on October 7th, and he left the hospital for the White House on October 5th. So that'll be 3 days.
So to me, that's precedent that he's already willing to like jeopardize American interests if he's not capable, rather than admit there's a problem.
But I think there is an argument that could be had that if someone is infected with COVID-19, that they wouldn't have to necessarily invoke the 25th Amendment in order to transfer powers to the VP. Like when, because Biden got COVID during his presidency, right? I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah, but Biden was vaccinated, so he was
he was
ready
vaccinated.
to go. My understanding is, according to that leak,
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, did Biden
Trump was in
transfer
a
his
bad
powers?
state. Trump was in a bad state for a day or two for the COVID shit. I also don't know if Biden got it. I don't think Biden got it in the first wave, did he? When it was really bad, I think he got.
Was
like,
Biden
a week or so.
hospitalized? Is what I'm asking.
I don't think so.
I can
check.
double check. Yeah.
Nope, the president never went to the hospital according to a letter posting, treating physician. He only ever experienced mild COVID-19.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Trump wasn't like, unconscious or like under some sort of anesthesia, I don't see why they would have to invoke the 25th Amendment in that situation.
Sure, but I don't even think we knew if he was, and I don't think we would know if he was.
Well, he had COVID-19. Is he undergoing some sort of surgery for COVID?
Well, he's fat as fuck, and we know that he was old as fuck, and we know that he was in a rough spot for a day. He could have been out. He could have been on pain meds. He could have been sleeping and like not able to perform the functions. Would we have trusted like COVID positive Trump to come out and lead the United States?
I don't know because
Like, he went
there's
to the
no
hospital,
there's no like evidence for that.
Hospitalization is severe. That means you have severe. You're if you're in the hospital, you're that's not good, right?
Well, he's the president of the United States. I don't think they would take any chance with that. Like, are we saying that?
Wait,
that
so
like,
you're
okay,
saying Biden didn't go to the hospital?
well, he was That's
Yeah, there
fair.
was no vaccine when Trump was there, and Trump had I think Trump had
That's a fair
version
point.
1, the alpha, right?
Trump also got the really good COVID meds that made him go kind of loopy, that like not everyone could even get. So they did, because he was in a really bad spot. They got him back up, and then he was kind of like a little high for a day, and he was riding around waving to people from the car. He insisted on it. Does anyone remember that? Like he was not a sound
No.
mind, but he was still president.
He was put on oxygen twice. How long was he at Walter Reed for? Does anybody know how many days he was in the hospital?
I think it was like 3 days or 2 days or something like that.
2 or 3 days at the hospital?
If he tested positive for COVID on the 2nd and then he got out on the 5th. So I don't know. Let's see here now. Later that day, Trump was hospitalized.
How many people do you know that had COVID that went to the hospital for 3 days?
Steroid. We said he's old as fuck. I mean, I think that just comes with being old.
Did every old person who got COVID go to the hospital for 3 days? That's a severe
Not
case.
every.
Not just old. Well, if you're an old person and you get COVID-19, are you going to, like, if your grandmother got COVID-19, would you send her to the hospital or no?
No, not generally. No, most of them didn't go, even in the first thing.
What was the
Hospitalizations were severe. That's if you have a severe.
I thought that was like the one thing that COVID was like most like the higher mortality rate was like being old. You know?
It was, but the problem with COVID was it was so infectious and so many people got infected. Not that it was like it had like a 90% lethality rate or something.
Well, yeah, that's the difference between like SARS-1 and CoV-2, I think.
I think we're getting off track, and I think it would be more helpful if we focused on his physical health now, because we've talked about his mental health and kind of exhausted this, and I think we don't know where to go.
I think we've like kind of gone back and forth on whether like his physical and mental health, because his physical health, like we talked about the was it the eye intravenous something? What was it called? Fuck.
The chronic
And you want-
venous, the big ankle shit.
Well, according to the White House, he's just shaking hands, so.
Hold on. I don't think it was the shaking hands thing. I think that was just like the bruise, right?
Wait, what are you
Uh,
asking
wait.
about?
Because they hold on. What was it that disease that he got was called?
With the chronic venous, the inability to return
Yes.
blood to the heart? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's
Well,
chronic
not
Yes,
venous.
chronic
inability,
venous
but like,
insufficiency.
yeah.
CVI.
By the way, isn't this panel mostly about mental health and not physical?
It's
can do
physical and
either.
mental health.
I think
Yeah,
it's
that's
both.
what I advertise.
So looking at the stats of that disease, the chronic venous insufficiency, 1 in 3 people over 50 have CVI. So would you say that 1 in 3 people are necessarily disqualified from the office of the presidency because they have that like disease? Being over the age of 50?
No, but it's worrying that they lied to us about it and that he's getting constant medication for. How many people are taking like IVs through their hands for stuff like this?
Again, would they take any chance with Trump when
What do you
it
mean,
comes
take
to
any
anything?
chance?
Like if Trump had any minor medical problem at his age, because he is the oldest president ever in the history of the United States, like would the doctors take any chance with him?
Well, it's taking when you medicate for everything and you test for everything, those are chances as well. You can't just like do everything to a person and think you'll be good. There's a reason why they go by guidelines for stuff, right? If you do every test and every treatment, on the chances are you're going to do more damage than good.
Well, yeah, I guess it's true. I would have to talk to a doctor about that, whether it would be most effective in order to treat via an IV or not for that
Well,
specific
but also
condition.
But they're lying about it. We're assuming it's just the CVS or the CVI thing, right? It could be ischemic strokes or like the transient ischemic strokes, or it could just be a stroke. Like,
Or it could be like colon cancer, but as I said, we don't really know, and because we don't know, that doesn't necessarily qualify or disqualify anything. And you are making an assumption that because they're lying, which they lie about everything, that necessarily means that we should assume that he'll be unhealthy with like everything. Like for all we know, he has like a
that's not
space disease from fucking Mars, and they're lying about it. But there's
yeah, but the difference is you're arguing between positions 1 and 3, but we're saying positions 2 and 3. We shouldn't be. We can't. If we're in the dark on it, that's just as bad. Because right now,
Yeah.
what you're saying is the only way we'll really know is if he's dead. We need to see a body, right? But is that your fair threshold?
Well, it's not not necessarily a body, but something more dramatic than what we've seen now. I don't think anything that we've necessarily seen now, like a bruise on his hand or him not being as quick as he was when it comes to like talking. I don't think that's not
What
a
did we see with
diagnosis
Biden?
of
Wait, but
anything.
Do you agree? Do you think that Biden was mentally unfit for office?
Do I think Biden mentally unfit? Probably not. Or probably
yes.
yes. Sorry, yeah, yes. I would say that he was.
So what did we
fit.
see with Biden that made us feel like he wasn't fit for office?
His debate.
No, I'm saying he was fit mentally. Physically, with like the whole colon cancer thing, towards like the end of his presidency, that probably would be disqualifying.
Wait,
Why would that be
colon cancer thing?
disqualifying?
Or colon cancer. Is it colon
Prostate?
cancer? Prostate cancer. That's what it is.
That was only found out afterwards, no?
Yeah.
Wasn't it like pre-diagnosed before? I know there was a New York Times article that was released.
Also, prostate cancer. This is like the slowest moving cancer in the universe.
or New York
Like, they don't-
Post article that was posted.
they don't
Why
even
would that be
treat
disqualifying?
Yeah.
And I think they were talking about like his health problems might have been before, but they were keeping it secret. But I don't know how true it is. I'm pretty sure the sources from this is from the Trump administration. I have to do more research on that.
But why would that be disqualifying, right? Because he hasn't died of like prostate cancer yet. But I think you would still be able to be reasonably concerned. That puts his physical health and well-being at enough of a liability. You wouldn't want to bank on that.
But okay, so you're arguing that even with prostate cancer, that Biden would still be qualified to be remain in the office?
prostate
No,
cancer
why
doesn't
would he not be
that's a-
qualified?
Yeah, that's a pussy cancer. It doesn't do shit. They don't even treat it when you
But so
get it.
you're going to argue that prostate cancer is still going to qualify Biden, but
No, I'm not saying that. Why
Or-
would prostate cancer disqualify Biden? What are your concerns?
well, I'm assuming if you're on fucking cancer meds, it's probably going to fuck up your mental shit, your mental state, especially if you're taking like painkillers or something like that for
Depending on your age, they don't even treat prostate cancer because it spreads so slowly that they figure you'll die before it even does anything.
what's the like the average, like how long does it take to kill the average person with prostate cancer?
Such that like past 70, I think they literally stop screening for it. They don't even screen you for it because if you get diagnosed with it, they don't treat it anyway.
Okay.
First of all, CVI does cause pain, and we know Trump's on at least aspirin, maybe more. Severe pain. So, if you're worried about pain, and then that might mean you take painkillers, that bar we've already met with Trump. Is that your only concern? Why prostate cancer would be disqualifying? Because
Well, yeah,
painkillers?
it's just if he was on some sort of medication that would be affecting like his mental state, I guess. That would
Like
be a
Trump was
concern.
when he was on the COVID meds and he went insane and drove around waving to all his fans.
Well, we don't know what medication he was on with the COVID meds.
We do.
Well, he was on remdesivir. He had to have oxygen a few times, meaning
He was
that
on remdesivir. What the fuck is remdesivir?
it's like an anti-bullshit thing that is that a retroviral? Remdesivir? Who remembers what that is?
Is an
But he did all-
antiviral medication used to treat COVID-19 in hospitalized patients in mild to moderate cases in
Like,
non-hospitalized
It's
patients.
been a few years, but that was the time it was like early COVID. Trump caught it early when like it was hard to get any meds for it, and they gave Trump all the good stuff, and he was a little loopy. And people were jealous because they couldn't get that themselves.
Hold on, I'm still confused. What is the evidence for him being loopy? I've not seen anything like this before.
This is like a 5-year-old news story. We can look it up together if you want.
Yeah, let's do it. That's why we're here.
Well, he
Also-
was at the hospital for 3 days. You know, wait, when we say hospital for 3 days, like he's not just like sitting up, like laughing and giggling, right? Like if you're hospitalized for COVID, like you understand that it's like you're not having a good time. You're probably sleeping the majority of that time. You're probably
Okay,
out, right?
here's a question to you. At what point does one's physical health disqualify you from remaining in the office of the presidency, in your opinion?
When you're capable of discharging the duties of the office. Isn't that what the 25th says?
Well, yeah, that is what it says. Well, faithfully upholding the duties of the office. Is that actually in the 25th Amendment, or is that in the Article 2? Hold on. Do you think that Trump was going to die when he had COVID or near death, like close enough to be like a warning with it?
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Wait. I don't understand why we're downplaying this. Have any of you guys had inpatient hospital stays? Where you've been at the hospital for overnight?
I have.
What did you have? If you mention.
When I was a kid, broke my arm. I've had multiple, I'm going to say, unspecified surgeries throughout my entire life to treat a certain condition.
Okay, and were you at the hospital for 1 day, for 3 days, for 5 days?
I was in the hospital for when I was like 5 or 6. I broke my arm, and they kept me in the hospital for a couple days with that.
Okay, so for like if you're not having a surgery and you're being kept in the hospital for 3 or 4 days.
No, I did have a surgery. They had
No,
to,
no,
like,
no, I
open
don't
the-
think, but I
yeah.
can understand, right? You're breaking bones, right? But if you don't even have like a broken bone, you're not having a surgery, you're kept in the hospital for 3 or 4 days, then this is you're having a bad time with the disease. Like the reason why you're at the hospital is because if you don't go to the hospital, you could die, right?
I guess that's a possibility. Yeah.
Well, not just a possibility. That's why they have. It's not like they don't have any health stuff at the White House, right? They've got oxygen and shit there, which is what they were giving him. But his blood oxygen levels kept falling low. They took him to Walter Reed and they kept him there for 3 or 4 days. So this is like a severe course of COVID-19. This is like the shit that you're worried about somebody dying from.
Okay, then
Right?
yeah, I guess I will concede to you that when he had COVID during in 2020, that he should have invoked the 25th Amendment in order for Mike Pence in order to temporarily take over the office of the presidency while he was hospitalized. But that still doesn't. I don't think that necessarily says anything about his current his current health stats today. I mean, like you could be concerned about his. You were talking about how Biden had the like the COVID vaccine and all that, and I know according to his health report at the very least, he's fully vaxxed up on everything. So like, yeah, I need to get my booster shot.
Okay, wait. Let's just, for the four of us in here, okay? $20 bet. I'll say this right now to each of you too. Okay.
I'll do $100 bet.
Each of us will go. Okay. $100 bet. You have to keep streaming. You can't disappear. Okay. I bet you. And I wouldn't pray this on anyone, okay? FBI, who's still watching me, okay? I wouldn't pray this on anybody. But I bet Trump will die before Biden does.
That is a bet.
Okay, there you go. Boom.
Yeah, I'll take that bet.
Good. All right. Vince.
I'm not sure. I'm not a big gambler.
Okay.
So all right, this seems like a good point. Because it seems like I think I got an idea of what the panelists agree and disagree on. So it sounds like you all agree that there could be information that exists right now that, if known by the public, would make most people agree that he should be disqualified from office, right? Does everyone agree that is a possibility right now?
It's a possibility, yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like the issue right now is whether or not, like, how comfortable we are with the fact, because even North, you said that, like, you're aware that this administration lies constantly and that they very well could be lying about the existence of this information. So do we fault them with the fact that they could be lying about the existence of that information or not? Because it sounds like from your perspective that basically we don't fault them, because if that information does exist and they lie about it and we're not holding that against them, then from your perspective, okay, so we can't make any kind of assumption.
We should fault them for that. I mean, of course, if this administration lies about the health problems, like they lie about anything, they should be held accountable for that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't necessarily correlate to whether Trump is physically or mentally fit, is sort of my point. Him lying about his health doesn't. Yeah, my point's already been said.
I guess, like, and you all can talk about this. Like, I'm just mostly interested in hearing the conversation go in this direction, because it's like trying to understand your perspective, North. It sounds like you're saying essentially that unless there is absolute dispositive proof that is publicly available that shows that he should not be serving in office, then we should not support him anymore. But I guess my problem, and it sounds like this is the problem that She's Right and Destiny are also raising, is like, well, if they're lying about it, then like, what do we do then? Like, what the fuck do we make of the situation then? Because, like, they're holding all the cards. They control whether or not the information is publicly available or not, short of him falling literally dead.
Well, as you said, there's literally nothing that we can do. I mean, like, as I said, they hold the cards. We could win the 2026 midterms and maybe try to invoke an impeachment. But this is, I think, focusing on Trump's health, especially, as you said, we can't do anything about it. In the end of the day, it doesn't really do much. We should be focusing on the shit that could be impeached for, like that recent thing, the Venezuela shit with J.D. Vance. I don't know if Trump can personally be impeached for that comment, but holy fuck.
Okay, Vince, and your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that there should be a like super 100% proof for us to impeach him or anything. If we, like, what can we do about this? I think we can't do anything, and that's pretty scary. But I guess it is what it is.
So
Trump will make it through this term. I think he'll be gone before the end.
Oh yeah. So two like opposition panelists here. I guess to everyone here, would you agree that a third party should release, like, do a full medical examination and release Trump's medical records, so we know?
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
I think they wanted to talk about doing this fucking UFC thing outside the White House. It should be the old rules. It should be Trump versus Biden, and they should fight, and the winner should be the new president.
I think why UFC? They should get into like an old style duel, 20 paces, pistols, They try firing at each other, and they'll just keep shooting until one of them falls.
Jesus.
Yeah.
This is what Rudy Giuliani wanted, right? On January 6th, he shouted trial
Is
by
that
combat
seriously what
to
the
the cheering
fuck
crowd.
he said? Holy fuck.
He said trial by combat, and then the crowd went, yeah, it feels like a movie clip. Like some Starship Trooper shit.
It's actually insane. My sarcasm isn't as funny when it's reflected in real life.
Yeah, it's hard.
Okay.
Well, good talk, guys.
Yeah, that was interesting.
All right. So I mean, like we could wrap it up at the hour, but I guess it's because this feels very unsatisfying to me. Like I
the
feel
issue
like
is that on the truthful arguments. I don't know. I guess 100% where she's right stands. But like we can't know 100%. I can't say that Trump should be gone because of the 25th Amendment. But the argument is really that conservatives will insisted for so long that Biden's health was failing him in so many different ways. And the only evidence was basically it was either a bunch of stuff that was just clipped incorrectly. Like one thing made it look like he was staring off into the distance and then turned around randomly, but like it was because the aspect ratio changed and there was just a person that he was looking at and then he turned around, or that he was like clearly cognitively insufficient because of it was a horrible debate performance, of course. But then when you turn it around on Trump, like they have lied about Trump's health. Trump said he was open about his health constantly. He said, "Oh, let's do a cognitive test and blah blah." Well, now we know they've lied about his health. They lied about his weight. That whole report came out that said he had a fucking, he was 180 pounds, 6% body fat, 27-inch elephant cock, and the only problem was the extreme scarring on his ear relating to the gunshot wound. And the only thing we don't see on him at this point is any fucking scar from that supposed gunshot wound, right? So it seems like there has been so much to cover up Trump's health. Right, the COVID shit was insane. That guy was dying in the fucking hospital. I don't care what anybody says. Biden admitted it when he was caught recording, talking to the Chinese media people. Apparently, the New York Times reported his blood oxygen was 86. Sub 90 is like this motherfucker might die. So just with all of that taken into account, for them to pretend that everything is okay, that's just wild. But these guys aren't like huge Trump defenders, so they're not going to take the stronger position there. Like to be fair, yeah.
You mentioned the what's it called? The scarring on his ear, and then you mentioned no scarring. Are you a believer in the conspiracy theory that it was all a staged event, that the assassination was fake?
No, because they're too incompetent to do anything. If he tried to stage his own assassination, he'd probably end up dead because he's fucking retarded. I am a believer in the conspiracy theory though, that because I saw some fucking clipped together videos that the actual blood came from the Secret Service agent when he was diving, and his holster pistol smacked him in the ear when he was diving to cover him. I am a fan of that theory.
I never heard of that theory before. Huh.
A lot of video evidence that makes it look compelling, but who knows?
Maybe they wanted to kill the firefighter.
Or that too.
Maybe
I don't
they
know
hit
who
the
that
target.
guy's enemies were.
Maybe God wanted to.
Oh.
Well, he
Okay,
was pro
so
Russia, so
I will say that it is very interesting, and I don't know how to explain this, and I'm sure there's a reasonable explanation I haven't thought of. Everybody in that motherfucking audience had phones out and was recording shit. I don't think a single cell phone video has been released of that incident from behind. Has there been?
No, there's been a ton of them like recording him on like the roof and all that, and them like trying to get police. There's been a couple. I've seen them.
No, not of the shooter, of Donald Trump.
Oh, you mean like of him like on the ground or like?
No, like of anybody in the audience that was recording like Trump from behind. Has there been?
I can't say that I know anything off the top of my head.
Well, here's
Maybe
the thing:
that
they're
knows
only
something.
bad angles because all the good seats they give to the paid token minorities they get on Craigslist to fill all the front row. So anyone who actually cares would be like way far back. It wouldn't be good.
Damn. But yeah,
Alright.
that's the issue. Yeah, I think it's the difference in treatment there. Yeah.
Well, I certainly hope. I mean, I guess I'll leave it here. I hope that this is a standard. Like me listening to this, and y'all can believe whatever you want to believe. I just need to find a way to find some like crazier far right guys, because they're like, so you all would hold the same standard for Biden, to be clear. Like you would extend the same level of charitability where you need like perfect evidence in order to, like, you need like perfect public evidence that there is something that exists that would be disqualifying in order for you to think that any president should be disqualified under the 25th Amendment. Is that essentially your position?
I'd like to see some sort of like medical report or something like that. Yeah.
Same.
Okay. And the fact that they could have that information but just not release it, that is of no concern to you.
Well, I don't. Well, it depends. Like, right to privacy with medical reports and stuff. I don't know how that necessarily applies to the president or not. And I also don't know off the top of my head how like the releasing medical reports. I don't know if that's like a requirement by the presidency or if that's like an annual thing or like a biannual thing or anything like that, or like just when they come in. Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Okay. I feel like if there were, I don't know, yeah, in the future I'll try to find finalists who I feel like would, because I feel like that right now a double standard is being imposed insanely. But that's my personal opinion. Y'all can have your beliefs, and it sounds like you have more reasonable views than other people who I would probably be more critical of. So anyway, all right, then in that case, we'll go ahead and wrap up. Everyone will go around and have people give final statements and outros. So in that case, Vince, we'll start with you, and then work around in some order. Vince, go ahead.
Yeah, well, as I said, I don't think Trump is mentally incapable, physically for that matter. I think there should be definitely concrete evidence to disqualify him, and I would apply the same standard to Biden, which there wasn't a concrete evidence, but I think Biden's debate performance was pretty bad and showed some signs of a significant mental decline. So yeah, that's it.
All right. Fuck, I'm already doing outros. North, go ahead.
I think I've said what I've already said. I mean, they lie about his health stuff, but they lie about everything. There's been no definitive proof about anything, whether his health is good or bad. But I think we should probably operate under the assumption, like we do with every president, that his health is probably just fine normally.
Okay. She's right, show.
Yeah, I don't know why the corrupt Trump administration is afraid of letting a independent third party release a full health report and accounting of where he's been this week. I think the people deserve to know. I think currently Trump's physical health makes him a liability who brings lame duck energy to any serious negotiations, and I think that's a danger to stable American governance.
Cool. And Steven, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that I think our current admin is severely damaged and undermined its own credibility by still refusing to acknowledge what kind of IVs he's getting. I think that this could be a rare circumstance where even our enemies are also incentivized to keep this information under wraps because it gives them a lot of leverage and negotiating power. So, yeah, not good. Get him out.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna wrap this up before I go crazy. People can go out and do you all want to shout out your socials? See if people know who you are. North, she's right. Vince, you want to shout out your socials?
She's right. You can go first.
Sure, thanks. She'srightshow.com.
Vince?
Yeah, so it's Real Visigoth. It's RealVisigoth. And also, after we say that, I want to ask RGR, are we ever going to have a panel on foreign policy?
It'll depend. I generally am more interested in topics that are relevant to the U.S. political scene. Maybe it'll, the future is yet to be seen, but it's not something that is out of the question.
Yeah.
North, do you want to shut yourself up?
Yeah, you can find me live at North is Live on YouTube, or you can find me on X at That Guy's North. You can see me talking about the hypocrisy of the current Republican Party, and you can also see me talk about aviation on Twitter. So, yeah.
Cool. And even if I am slightly frustrated, I love you all. Thank you all so much for being here. Steven, thank you so much for being here. North, Vince, thank you for being here. I know that a lot of the arguments were pointed at your positions, but I do appreciate you being here. It takes a lot to be able to get up and defend unpopular positions in this space, so I really appreciate you. And she's right. Thank you so much for coming out again. I wish you all the best in your future endeavors in this online space. And for people who are watching, we're going to take a small break because, I need to go onto TikTok. All right. I need to find where where all the new debate people are. All right. You all can help me recruit more people. Wait for midterm. Well, listen. All right. We got to be ready. We got to be ready to go when they come around. All right.
Or no, I mean, the conservatives, I think after they won, the problem is that, the vibe is that, the conservative shit has just gotten so out of hand. They don't even try to defend their shit anymore. I think they realize it's, kind of wacky as fuck. So they just, watch clip compilations and they don't have much adversarial. It's happened. It's not just in this space. It's, all the media right now. Everybody's, kind of locked in their own little...
That's one of the major criticisms I have of the current Republican establishment is basically they've moved on and basically betrayed every single position that they used to hold. And I find that terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, it's, we're dealing with a lot of... Everyone's kind of just fucking fortress arcing right now. It's frustrating, but I don't know. I have reason to believe at least that there are still some people who do this. Maybe like more people who are like younger, haven't like started seriously live streaming, but who might be interested in getting into it, who are on like the TikTok space. So I'll check that out in a little bit. But yeah, so I'll wait to schedule another panel until I have a better roster of people. But I am glad that people are interested in this, and I'm glad that this has. I don't know. I've still enjoyed this. So thank you all for coming around and participating.
It was fun.
Thank you.
Thanks for having
And
us.
also, what is going to be the topic of the next panel?
I'll figure it'll be a little bit. I want to make sure that whenever I schedule something, that's going to be a topic that's timely and that people will be interested in. So we'll, take a rain check on that. I made some notes about stuff that would be interesting to me, but I'll, I want to have the people first, and then I'll figure out a topic after that.
Find some real crazy Epstein's friends defenders, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Great. So that is all that for today. I apologize. There were a couple issues with my push to talk. I have a chronic illness. I have a chronic cough, so I try to go in the push to talk so there's no coughing in the audio. But I think sometimes my shortcuts were fighting each other a little bit. So that's something to know. I will definitely fix it in the future. I don't think we're really missing much. It was not a super crazy conversation, which is good. These are some more reasonable people, which is not at all representative of half the country right now. And for the record, with RGR's last panel and this one, a lot of people made a lot of efforts to get more extremists out, but they are stuck in their echo chambers, and even when specifically invited, they refused to talk with any of us. And I think there's something to be learned in that, and I think a lot of people, even if they won't say it on main, know that what they believe is not necessarily true and does not stand up to fact or scrutiny. So something to keep in mind for sure, but hopefully in the future we can find some wild people. And I'm going to stream more days and do kind of like open call-in or debate type stuff. I'm really interested to talk into some people who are so pathetic as to support the current corrupt Trump regime. And hopefully you find some, because I think they are wrong about a lot of things and are afraid to face the facts. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm gonna stop streaming. I will see you all later. I'll see you around. Bye. Thank you so much.